My name's Ein Yorndi. Today, we're going to be looking at the Clavioline. This is a Clavioline Concert model, which is one that has a regular range of notes, but it also has a sub-bass function and a sub-sub-bass function. The Clavioline. Designed by Constant Martin in 1947, this was designed as a small portable keyboard that was used by people in pop orchestras and bands and all sorts of things. It was based on the idea of the solo vox that Hammond came out with in 1940-ish. Now, if you'd like to come and have a look at the front of this, it looks very, very like a classic car. Okay, so here we have the very beautiful front of the Clavioline Concert, and I'll just quickly take you on a tour of what everything does. First things first, you have to press down on the F tab here, which stands for fundamental. This thing's got a knee lever like all the other small keyboards that we have here. You've also got a P tab, which is for the percussive sound. And then there's a variety of different circuits that it goes through to give it slightly different tone shapes. So you've got this one here, B, which is a sort of a more sawtooth wave, and then that one there, which is a bit of a V, which is a bit more of a kind of mellow sound. And obviously the F, which is just like on a Ondioline, you would have the standard setting when it's just switched on. And that would be the basic sound. So on a Clavioline, you have an F tab, and that's the basic sound that's switched on, because otherwise you can kind of just about hear it on there, but it's not very loud. So with the F tab down and the B tab down, let's try a few of these different tabs here. These are all tone filters. So here we go. The V tab, we'll try the same. That's just with the F tab down, and you can combine these as well. But it depends on which tabs you have down as to how effectual they are. We've also got vibrato, an automatic vibrato on this. So we have vibrato 1, vibrato 2, which you have to add to vibrato 1. So that speeds it up. And then vibrato 3, which is even more slightly sped up. And then you have the amplitude button, which varies the depth of or the width, whatever it is, of the vibrato sound. Which is quite nice. You've also got, over here, sub 1 and sub 2 here, which are the P for piano, as in soft, and then sub 1 and sub 2 here for forte, so meaning loud. And now the sub 1, if I just play nice sound here, press the sub 1 down, you get 1 octave below that. Press the sub 2 down, and you get 2 octaves below that. I'll get rid of the F. So you could just hear it. So without the F on, sub 1, sub 2, and then with the fundamental. adds those two tones together. You've also got sub 1 for the louder setting. So you, and then with them all on together. When you turn the fundamental off and you play these, you won't get any sound on the sub 1 and sub 2 forte ones, but you do on the sub 1 and sub 2 piano ones. And that's the sort of clarinet-y type sound you get. Now you may have seen me moving this little slider. Now if you look here and watch this one, that moves at the same time because it's obviously linked inside. It's not a ghost. And that selects the octave. It's the octave selector. So the lowest note on the Clavioline is that one. And the highest note is that one. Which sounds a bit like a mosquito. With the Clavioline, it comes with this lovely case. It all comes inside a case, so the keyboard sort of fits inside this half, and you've got the speaker grill in there with the snake skin or alligator skin effect on it, which is rather nice. And then if you look round this side, you can see the 7-pin plug that goes to the keyboard unit, and the on-off switch and a light to tell you if it's on or off. Not sure if that's working. There's also a couple of fuses and a selector switch for voltage areas. And this one's also had a line out fitted as well. You may notice that this is on a stand. And if I just take this off a minute. It's got a custom-made stand with Clavioline written on it. Which is it's quite a heavy stand. If I put that back on again. You've also got tuning knobs on either side here. One of them's a main tuning thing and the other one's a sort of a fine tuning control. I'm not going to fiddle around with them now because it's one of those things that takes hours to get it just right, and then as the circuitry heats up it starts to drift and you have to keep tuning it and tuning it and tuning it. But it sort of seems to work pretty well. And you saw me sliding my fingers across there. One of the most famous uses of a Clavioline is on the Beatles' Baby You're a Rich Man, which was the B-side song to All You Need Is Love in July 1967. And it is said that John Lennon played one of these Claviolines and was rolling an orange over the top of it to get the sort of sound. I think they had that kind of sound with a vibrato one. So all through the song, you just hear in the background this sort of sound. It's not actually very hard to do that because the keys are they have got very, very sort of small key beds, so they don't move very fast. So you can sort of swipe up and down. Some of these keys are a little bit loose, so they need gluing. Now inside, this is very similar to the Univox, the Jennings Univox, as it's got a set of little pins inside, like the snails. They meet contacts that are on the keys. And this unit is probably the best designed but also the most cramped of all of the keyboard units you'll get from these instruments. Inside the Solovox keyboard, it's sort of quite well spaced out, and most of the electronics is in the speaker part of it. And inside the The Univox, it's a similar thing. You've basically got a whole area designated for the keyboard section, and then there's a few switches, and then all the electronics are in this part. But inside here, you've actually got half of this width here, or this, whatever, the height here, is the keyboard area, and then it's like a tiny, tiny little gap, and then there's a load of other switches and bits and pieces underneath, and all electronics. So sometimes if you screw them, when you take it to pieces and screw it back together again, you'll find all the notes start to play by themselves because they're all being pressed together. So it's a bit of an art to actually get it to fit just right. When it's screwed to the right tightness, it will work perfectly. And then obviously inside here, on a Univox, you would unscrew this part to get into it, to fix it. But on a Clavioline, you have to turn it upside down and remove the bottom part of it. I will just show you the bottom. That's its bottom. It's got a lovely pardon me. You can see the knee lever there. It's another one of those things that you can manipulate a bit like a shoulder being put back in. With this one, if I just show you, depending on how you're feeling, if you pull it out, you can do that with it. It's quite useful for packing it away. And it makes a great sound. So, yeah. But I think even though the Ondioline is quite a unique thing, I actually I think I prefer the tones on this. I think you can get nicer sounds on this one. But that's just my own personal taste. It's quite possibly been used on some Joe Meek productions. There's always been, certainly as far as I'm aware, there's always been a bit of a confusion as to whether Telstar was recorded on one of these or on a Univox. I think it might be a Univox. I haven't checked, but I think it probably is. But I'm sure someone will be able to leave a comment below. While you're leaving a comment below, why not like and subscribe? Joe Meek had a Clavioline in his collection of stuff. He had a Clavioline, a Univox. I think he had a Lowry organ, probably a DSO, the model down from the one we've got here, which I'll be doing a video on soon, which is the Lucy and the Sky with Diamonds one. But you can kind of get a bit of a Telstar sound on this. Switched on Bach a bit too long. I actually learned all my classical music from listening to Switched on Bach by Wendy Carlos, and my piano teacher never realised, and I just used to listen to it and copy it all. And in my head there'd be a Moog playing, but she'd be playing the piano and thinking I was I was her star pupil, but I wasn't. Anyway, it's got multiple uses. I use it a lot for recordings, do all sorts of things for people. I had a couple of guys a few years back from Q-Beats asked me to do some stuff, and I did some stuff for them. I've recorded some things for various other people of note on it, and it sounds great. So stay tuned for the next episode.